let me raise big questions that have come from the story. EC's role revision deadline. Is it simply impractical to expect 25th of July for crores of voters to have forms with documents? Remember, now forms are being collected without documents. Is this becoming a citizenship test, which is really not the responsibility of the Election Commission, but the Home Ministry? Is the onus being pushed on voters to prove their citizenship? And is the right to vote therefore under threat when the opposition claims Vote-Bandi? Is that fear or realistic? I'm joined by O.P. Rawat, former Chief Election Commission, Satyapal Jain, Additional Solicitor General of India. He's also been a BJP MP. And Shadan Farasat is Senior Advocate, Supreme Court. He's been appearing in this case in the courts. Appreciate all of you joining us. O.P. Rawat, let me get your first reactions. This entire exercise, is it being done in a hurry to meet deadlines, and thereby the real fear is there that genuine voters could also get excluded just because they don't have the necessary documents being provided to them?
Rajdeep, you are absolutely right, because intensive revision was generally done when elections were about a year or more away, so that the whole process is completed in 3 months, and thereafter all those aggrieved by deletion of their names in the final publication have enough time to resolve their issues and get justice for inclusion or exclusion, whatever it is. This time elections are just about a month away after the final publication. So that's why people are having panic, and they are confused what to do and how to get justice.
You know, that's an interesting point, because Satyapal Jain, there was a summary revision completed in Bihar in January of this year, and suddenly overnight on June 24th, the Election Commission says, ahead of Bihar, we are going in for a special intensive revision. Here is a former Chief Election Commissioner saying, this is normally done a year before an election, it's properly done. There seems to be some urgency to get it done before Bihar. As a result, a controversy is spiraling. Forms are being collected, as our reporter says, even without documentation.
See, all the controversies and all the fears, apprehensions are totally misplaced, unfounded, and they are in ignorance of the law of the registration of the voters. Let's first understand the procedure. Under the Representation of People Act 1950, there is a complete procedure prescribed as to who can be registered as a voter and what is the procedure for that. Under 1950 Act, there are 3-4 conditions. Number 1, you must be a citizen of India. You should not be less than of 18 years of age. You should be ordinary resident of the place where you want to be registered as a voter, and you should not be registered as a voter more than once, either in the same constituency or in 2 different constituencies or even in 2 different states. So these are the basic conditions. Then there is a booth level officer who coordinates the registration of the votes and revision of the electoral rolls under section 21C. Booth level officer is assisted by the booth level agents of all the political parties, and at a particular booth there are about 1000 to 1200, 1500 votes, meaning 300, 400 families. I do not think it is impossible for all the political parties and the BLO not to verify about 100, 1000, 1200 or 500 families, whether they are genuine or not.
Mr. Jain, no one is doubting the EC's constitutional powers under the Representation of People's Act. The question arises that when you go in for a special intensive revision of this kind just ahead of an election, you are creating unrealistic timelines. You are creating now additional bureaucratic layers by asking for documents that you didn't ask voters in the past, and thereby creating fears which could well be justified on the ground if many voters are excluded. So what was the urgency suddenly to do it in the monsoon months when large parts of Bihar are flooded out?
It is the initial revision which is taking place. The list will come, 90% people will be satisfied, 95% be. If you have any objection, under the registration of electoral rules, there is a procedure. You can immediately represent to the block officer. He will decide whether you have been rightly included or excluded. Then it is the district officer. Then it is the chief electoral officer. All steps have been provided. All remedies have been made available. Only unnecessarily they are trying to create hue and cry. Now is not the time like earlier one when I contested election 91 for the first time. Now everything is available on net. Everything is available on net. All forms are available. If you can't
Shadan
coordinate,
Farasat.
just a minute. If your BLA, agent of a political party, is not able to coordinate at the booth level, it is the fault of the party, not of the system.
Okay, Shadan Farasat respond. According to Satyapal Jain, this is much ado about nothing. There are enough checks and balances within the system that even if my name is excluded, I am a genuine voter, I will have the right to vote. There is a prescribed procedure. What's the real concern then?
Yes, the concern is at multiple levels. The first concern is that this is what the Election Commission calls a special intensive revision. This is not just an intensive revision. The word special has been added before intensive revision. Election Commission itself admits that no special intensive revision has been done in the history of India in 75 years, and Bihar is the first state where it is being done. What has been done in the past is only intensive revision. Now, what's the difference?
What was 2003? What was 2003?
That was only an intensive revision. There was no
What's the
concept of a
difference?
there was no concept of a special intensive revision until we heard it from Election Commission 20 days back. That's the first time they've introduced it. So I think that's important that your viewers have that clarity that in the past, only what has been carried out is an intensive revision. This is a new creation of the Election Commission. That's point number one. Now, why is it problematic? It's problematic for the reason that everybody, irrespective of you being on an electoral list, have to submit this form, correct? If you don't get the form and therefore you're not able to submit it, or for any reason you are not able to submit it, despite you being in the 2025 electoral list, you will be straight away knocked out. Your name will not even figure in the draft roll, which is supposed to come on 1st August. So just by non-submission of a form, despite being on an electoral list, as of today, you will be knocked out. The investigation or whatever the hearing begins for people who are on the draft roll. Therefore, fundamentally, even now, if you have 9 crore voters or 8 crore voters, 1% is 8 lakh. Simple arithmetic tells us. So if you are not even able to give form to 1% people, 8 lakh people are knocked out of the roll straight away. Now, let's assume you are not able to give to 2%. That's 16 lakh. And if some of them are not able to submit, and Bihar has short-term migrant labor of a huge variety. In Punjab, there is going to be, right now sowing season. So a lot of people will be traveling. A lot of the working class of Bihar will be on a short-term migration, correct? Now, all of
Today, the Election Commission has put out full-page ads to say that migrant labor can go online on an app.
Is the Election Commission living in a real world, or are they living in some make-believe world? Ads for what? A person who's working in Punjab on a field, in a paddy field, is going to look at the Election Commission website and file a form? Are we kidding ourselves? I mean, what a joke. And this, unfortunately, is, I mean, I get the same sense which I got when it was demonetization. This is demonetization by Election Commission. You see the same level of problem with legality. You see the same level of problem with implementation on the ground. And you see the same level of excuses and justifications changing every day. 8 years, that was 2016, we are 9 years down the line. All of us know it was a failure, a massive failure. The government doesn't talk about it. And this is exactly what the situation with the special intensive revision is. Election Commission.
Mr. Rawat, you want to respond that this is now Vote-Bandi. You have a particular, like what we had with Note-Bandi, you've identified a problem that there are maybe voters who may not have the citizenship claims and you want to remove them of electoral roll. What do? You go in for an exercise that will actually exclude genuine voters. As Shadan Farasat says, if I'm a daily wage laborer working on a field in Punjab, am I going to sit and fill a form online and make sure that I'm on the form in the first place? Mr. Rawat.
It's true, actually. Yeah, it's true. Actually, Election Commission themselves realized mid-course, around 6th of July, they came out with an advertisement because they felt that they won't be able to get any forms from nearly 3 crore voters. So they brought out an advertisement on Sunday that there is no need of proof or documents, you just submit the form, so that at least a semblance of reason is there, and nearly 7.5 crore voters are in the draft roll. Otherwise, there would have been only 5 crore voters, 2003 voter list. So they themselves made in mid-course correction.
That's exactly, I'll come to you, Satyapal Jain, in a moment, but I want to show you what's actually happening on the ground once again. We actually did a hidden camera on one of the BLOs to find out how names are being deleted, how names are being included. I want you to listen in and then I'll come back to my guest. Listen in.
नेपाल का जो जुड़ा हुआ है, जानकारी नहीं था, जानकारी के आधार में जोड़ दिया गया उसको। अब अभी जो उसका नियम है क्या कि 7 साल के बाद, 7 साल के बाद जो है उसको आदेश देना होगा। जो उसका सिस्टम है, सिस्टम में नाम जोड़ना है।
जो आपके बांग्लादेशी है उनको तो कोई चिन्हित नहीं कर रहा है, सिर्फ नेपालियों को चिन्हित कर रहा है।
देखिए बांग्लादेशी यहाँ नेपाली को मैंने वो चिन्हित सबको कर रहा है, तो किसी को नहीं कर रहा।
तभी तो पूछ रही हूँ आपसे, किसको चिन्हित कर रहे हैं, किन किन को?
अब हम कैसे पता करें ये नेपाल का है या इंडिया का है? अब मान जाए वोटर लिस्ट में नाम है, जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स मांगा गया वो डॉक्यूमेंट्स उसके पास है, कंप्लीट है, तो कहीं का भी रहे कोई उसका इसका तो कोई मतलब रहा नहीं, चाहे वो बांग्लादेश का हो, नेपाल का हो, भूटान का हो, जहाँ का भी रहे, जब वो डॉक्यूमेंट्स दे रहा है तो कोई दिक्कत है नहीं।
लेकिन ऐसे बांग्लादेशी आपने आइडेंटिफाई किया है, आप लोगों ने बताया ऊपर?
नहीं, ऐसा तो कुछ है ही नहीं।
यही पूछ रही हूँ, आपने बांग्लादेशी मुसलमान आइडेंटिफाई किया है आपके इलाके में?
अब तक तो नजर नहीं आया मेरा।
नहीं आया आपके नजर में?
अब देखिए नजर इसलिए नहीं आया है, मान ले जाए कोई भी जो भी हो, जो डॉक्यूमेंट दिया है उसका डॉक्यूमेंट लगाएगा ना, तो आप किसी को आप वास्तविक में उसका फादर है या नहीं है, लेकिन डॉक्यूमेंट्स अभी लगा के दे रहा है, बहुतों ने डॉक्यूमेंट्स नहीं किया अभी, और जब तक वो डॉक्यूमेंट हम देंगे नहीं तब तक वो पता चलेगा नहीं। एक
You know what, Satyapal Jain, this exercise was supposed to weed out the so-called illegal voters. As Shreya's report has shown on the ground, the BLOs are finding that impossible. There's a porous border with Nepal. And worse still, if I'm a Bengali from Murshidabad or Malda, I speak Bengali, immediately I'm called a Bangladeshi. This exercise seems to have the wrong, it is simply unable to realize the ground realities. That's the problem with it. It is again like Vote-Bandi. You're finding the wrong medicine to resolve the disease.
Not at all. Vote-Bandi has no similarity to the present situation. May I put a question to all my friends? Even when the voters are prepared, voter list is prepared, in any parliamentary or assembly elections, to my knowledge, maximum turnout was 70 or 75%. So what about the 30%, 20% who do not come to cast their vote? So it's not that everybody who is interested will be registered and will come to cast the vote. You get your right to register as a voter from the constitution and the law. And if you fulfill those conditions, you will be enrolled as a voter. And if the BLO doesn't enroll you as a voter, you have legal remedies, 4 channels available to you.
So
let
that
first
will
the
take
list
months.
come.
That will
Let
take
then
months.
see
I'll be
how
running
many have
around.
been
I'll
left.
be running
How
around
many
Bihar.
have-
Wait, the
No,
elections
not
are just a
months.
couple.
Not months. No.
Okay.
No, not months. Within a day, 3 days, you can do it nowadays. See, if you can't have your BLA who is active, I told in the beginning, voter list is prepared at the booth level. There is a booth level officer. Then every party has a booth level agent at that level.
Okay.
Now, if your booth level agent is not active, he doesn't want to go to the voters, he doesn't want to verify, he doesn't want to get things done. Why do you blame the system? And
Okay,
why should
okay,
you
let-
blame the
let Shadan-
officer and all those people? All apprehensions are unfounded in ignorance of the law. Let us study law,
Shadan-
then there will be no problem at all.
Shadan Farasat, respond to what you heard. There are
Yeah, I
booth level
will
agents
only
of
say-
every
I will-
political party who can do the verification. This is not such a complicated process.
No, I will only say to Mr. Malik in response to what Mr. Malik is saying is that the law
Mr.
should
Jain.
not. Sorry, Mr. Jain is saying is that the law should not exist in absence
No
of
problem,
the
no problem.
reality. It should not exist in the absence of the reality on the ground. It cannot. Law cannot be just for our imagination, right? So the law does not contemplate this. But be quite apart from the law. Is it possible, let's say there are problems with 2 or 3 crore people's, prima facie, nobody submitted a document as of now. It's quite obvious that BLOs, I originally belong from Bihar, I have family there. So I know that all they're doing is collecting forms. That's what the instructions to the BLOs on the ground is. Now, if you're just collecting forms, the real problem, one is exclusion at the level of collecting forms, which are pointed out in my initial comments. Then the problem will begin. Those from whom you have collected forms, now you have to get documentation from them. And based on that documentation, decide whether they are in or out and give them hearings. Are you telling me that the Election Commission has the capacity to give hearing to, say, even 1 crore people, personal hearings? That's what the law requires.
Yes.
I mean, is it possible? Is it
Yes,
feasible?
yes.
Before election, Mr. Jain, I'm sorry. I mean, I really think we are living in two parallel worlds. I don't think it's at all possible or feasible to give hearings under Rule 21A and Rule 24 of the Election Commission Rules 1960 and determine based on documentation, that too in a span of time when elections are set in September or October. So this is
May I
completely.
reply?
I tell you, just
May I
allow me to complete, sir.
may I
Just
reply?
allow me to complete.
Let him complete and I'll get you Satyapal Jain. Yeah, complete.
Allow me to complete. All I'm saying is that this is something Election Commission itself realized, that at the beginning stage, if they ask people to submit with documents, their numbers will be very low. So they did away with the documents. They have told their BLOs, just go collect the forms. Because otherwise, what would have happened by 25th July, the numbers would have been out of 8 crores, 2 or 3 crores would have straight away not even submitted the form. And numbers would have, the numbers of exclusion, prima facie exclusion would have been very high. So in order to avoid that, they just said give the forms. But the real problem will still come thereafter. They don't have any solution. That's why I'm saying it's like demonetization. You keep on addressing problems as they arise. You have not thought through. You don't have a response and you say sab changa si. That's all.
Okay, Sab Changasi, quick final 30-second response, Satyapal Jain. There are real practical, these are practical difficulties. Our story has exposed the practical difficulties.
I will only say, and if the election commission can hold election to 100 parliamentary constituencies, thousands and thousands of polling booths, crores of voters in a day, why can't you finalize the voter list within 3 weeks, 10 days, 12 days? All things are possible nowadays. The only thing is follow the law. And I don't agree with him that you have to, the law doesn't say and all that. We have
Sir,
things have to be done
you have
as
to
prescribed by
physically
law.
verify
Get
the
law changed from
process. You have to
Parliament,
give
no
people an
problem.
opportunity
You have
for
to
a
follow
fair
the
hearing.
law.
Okay,
Yes, you have to
we'll
do
leave
it.
it there. We'll leave
We
it
have
there.
been
Our
doing it, we
purpose.
have to do it. And
Okay,
if you
our
cannot do it,
purpose was only to highlight the
follow the
issues on
law.
the ground.
Law will be
I
followed.
hope people are waking up to the reality of what is happening on the ground in one of India's most populous states of Bihar. Without using words like Vote-Bandi, all I will say is that the public's right to vote must not be compromised.
Nothing,
If
no
I'm a,
example, no example,
okay,
no parallel.
okay, we'll leave it there. All we are saying is questions are being raised that need answers. And the Election Commission seems to be changing the goalposts all the time. Thank you to my panel for joining me.